During this video lesson, you're going to learn how to subtract integers with and without a number line. So let's jump ahead with this example. 9 minus 17. So the first thing that you need to take a look at is that the first number is positive 9. So you need to place the arrow right on the 0 in your number line and draw it all to the right until you get to positive 9. And now you're going to take away, you're going to subtract 17. So we're going to go all the way to the left 17 places until you get, in this case, negative 8. So now you know that positive 9 minus 17, it is equals to negative 8. Let's take a look at this other example. Please pause the video and try to do it by yourself. As you can see, the first number is a positive number. So you're going to move the arrow, draw the arrow towards the right 6 times, okay? Now you're going to take away 10 from those 6, all right? So the arrow that you're going to draw will move towards the left 10 spaces. As you can see, it lands in negative 4. So 6 minus 10 is equals to negative 4. Now that you know how to subtract integers with a number line, I am going to show you a different way. Before I show you, let's talk about this opposite, all right? Whenever I talk about opposite number, I basically mean that number that is situated at the same distance from 0, but in the opposite direction on a number line. For example, if I said the opposite of positive 4, it is negative 4, because that's the only number in the number line that is at the same distance from 0, but in the opposite direction, all right? So negative 4, it's the opposite of positive 4. Let's see. The opposite of negative 7, it is positive 7, because that's the number that is situated at the same distance from 0, but in the opposite side of a direction, okay? In the opposite direction on that number line. Maybe we could talk about what's the opposite of positive 5. Again, it's the same number, but in the opposite direction on the number line. So the opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. The opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. And so on. Let's see if you know. What's the opposite of negative 8? Think about what's that other number that is situated at the same distance from 0, but in the opposite direction on this number line. Very good. It is positive 8. The opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. Now, let's try to do the subtraction. The first thing that you need to do is that you need to add the opposite of the second integer. Let's see. We have negative 7 minus positive 3, okay? So I'm going to bring down my first integer. Then I'm going to add the opposite of the second integer. In this case, the opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. Now you need to analyze this addition. From other videos that is about adding integers, you already learned that when they have the same sign, you need to add them and keep the sign that they have in common. So 7 plus 3, it is 10. And then you keep the same sign, negative 10. All right? Let's try to do another example. Pause the video and do this by yourself. Very good. So now we're going to bring down the first integer and add the opposite of the second one. As this is negative 2 minus positive 3, it will be negative 2 plus the opposite of positive 3, which is negative 3. Okay? They have the same signs. I'm just going to add them and keep the sign that they have in common. So my final answer is negative 5. Let's try to do this other example. Again, pause the video and try to do it by yourself. So I'm going to bring down my negative 5 because this is negative 5 minus positive 2. Okay? Even though you do not see the positive sign, it is there. Okay? So I will do opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. So I'm going to add negative 2 right here. Okay? So let's see. If they have the same sign when you're adding, you're going to add them and keep the same sign. 5 plus 2 is 7, and then I keep the same sign. Okay? All right. On this example, we have positive 1 minus positive 4. So we're going to add the opposite of the second integer, that is positive 4. So we do 1 plus negative 4 because that's the opposite of positive 4. Remember that when you're adding integers and they have different signs, you need to subtract them and keep the sign of the greatest absolute value. As 4 minus 1 is 3, and the greatest absolute value in this case is negative 4, my answer will be negative 3. Okay? Try to do this one by yourself. Pause the video and then come back. Very good. So we're going to subtract positive 8 minus positive 3. So I'm going to add the opposite of the second integer. So it will be positive 8 plus negative 3. When they have different signs, I need to subtract them. And I will keep the sign of the greatest absolute value. 8 minus 3 is 5. And as you can see, the greatest absolute value is 8. So my final answer will be positive 5. Okay? Try to do this one by yourself. Very good. So we have positive 9 minus positive 17. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the opposite of positive 17. Remember, the opposite of positive 17, it is negative 17. So I'll do 9 plus the opposite of positive 17, which is negative 17. Remember that when we are adding integers with different signs, we need to subtract them. So 17 minus 9 is 8. And the absolute value, the one that is the greatest one, is negative 17. So your final answer will be negative 8. Now we have this other example where we have negative 12 minus negative 3. Please note that this is the first time that we have a negative as a second integer. But we're going to follow the same rule, okay? You're going to add the opposite of the second integer. So we'll do negative 12 plus the opposite of negative 3, which is positive 3. So now, when you're adding integers with different signs, you need to subtract them. So 12 minus 3 is 9. But hold on, I need to use the sign of the greatest absolute value. In this case, is negative 12. So my final answer will be negative 9. Pause this video and try to do this one by yourself. All right, so let's try to do this one. So we have 6. And then the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. So I'm going to add positive 5. 6 plus 5, it's equals to 11. But in this case, my greatest absolute value is positive 6. So my answer will be positive 11. Let's take a look at this last example. Pause the video and try to do it by yourself. Very good. So I'm going to do 32. And I'm going to add the opposite of my second integer, which is negative 6. And the opposite is 6. So 32 plus 6, it is 38. And the greatest absolute value is positive. So this is my final answer, positive 38.